PJ Kwan, and I'm a Principal Solution Advisor with SAP. And I'm very excited to talk to you about SAP's vision for AI in the planning and analytics space. I've been with SAP for almost 20 years now, but began my career as a financial analyst and an accountant before I transitioned to software. And in those years, technology and finance have changed exponentially. And I'd like to discuss today and show you some of these future innovations. From an agenda perspective, I'll start with setting the scene for AI at SAP and talk about the impact of the changes and innovations that AI is bringing within FP&A. And then I'll give you some examples, some demonstrations of some key areas where we're embedding AI directly within our applications. We'll talk about our planning assistant agents, our data assistant agents, and our analytical assistant agents. So what's changing and what is SAP doing to address and provide advantage in that area? So what's changed? Today, attention has shifted to the next evolution of generative AI, AI agents or agentic AI. And this is a new breed of AI systems that are semi or fully autonomous and thus able to perceive, reason, and act on their own. Different from the typical chatbots that field questions and solve problems, this emerging class of AI integrates with other software systems to complete tasks independently or with minimal human intervention. We're seeing business value shifting from the application layer to the agentic layer. In businesses where apps, data, and AI are combined, the business process execution itself is moving from individual applications to an agentic AI layer that runs all critical business processes. Role and context-aware assistants become the operating and interaction layer, embedding enterprise context and guardrails to orchestrate end-to-end processes. And in this new era of enterprise management, AI assistants become the new AI user experience for every user. The SAP advantage here is the power of the combined advantage. The AI, the embedded, contextual, responsible AI across business processes, the data itself, unified, governed, and business context-rich data fabric, and the applications, integrated, intelligent, and extensible, and all part of the enterprise application layer. And the true advantage of this is at SAP is the synergy between the AI, data, and apps all in one SAP environment. Here we see the combined pillars in more detail, beginning at the bottom with the apps layer and all the data the lines of business solutions generate. Next is the data layer, SAP and non-SAP data housed in one platform, but available to a multitude of SAP and non-SAP partners. And lastly, at the top is the AI foundation with Joule that delivers out-of-the-box business AI and the ability for you to build your own custom AI models. Now, what is SAP Joule? It is a generative AI co-pilot built natively into SAP's enterprise cloud solutions. It uses natural language processing on harmonized company data to automate complex workflows, extract strategic business insights, and simplify daily tasks across finance, human resources, supply chain, and procurement. And unlike standalone AI tools, Joule deeply understands business context and operational processes because it is embedded directly into the flow of your existing SAP environment. And speaking of SAP environment, what is key here is that all the apps, data, and AI foundation are held within SAP's environment so you can trust that the data is secure and whole. Now, there are a variety of tasks and activities that a Joule assistant can help you with. A Joule assistant uses deep role and process context to coordinate AI agents and autonomously execute complex workflows across your business, whether they be informational, transactional, or analytical. Tasks this assistant can help you with are translating business intent into planning actions, sensing KPI deviations and emerging risks, or orchestrating forecasting, variance, and sentiment analysis. And examples of use cases for this assistant might be continuous rolling forecast driven by real-time signals, ad hoc scenario analysis for emerging risks or opportunity, or the alignment of operational responses with financial targets. All very exciting. So let's take a look. Next, I'll be providing you a demonstration of some of our planned AI agents. And these next examples of planning and modeling agents, I'm going to show you a vision of how we, as we FP&A users, can use these tools to not only change with how we interact with planning solutions themselves, but how we can truly affect business outcomes and drive decisions in a more efficient manner. Let's talk about our planning assistant agents. So the vision here is that we will help the planner, and as you can see, there are various personas of who a planner might be. You can be a modeler, you can be a planning consumer, you can be someone who makes actual inputs into the plan. And we can use prompts and natural language to help organize and help update our plan. So by utilizing Joule, there will be a mix of direct updates to the plan itself, as well as conversational updates that are generated via using a prompt. Let's take a look. So here I am looking at an SAP Analytics Cloud desktop. This is our planning tool desktop. And what we're looking here is at a story. A story simply is a single document that portrays a particular point of view. And as you can see, there's various charts, graphs, and tables for you to explore and interact with. So to the right, I have my Joule Copilot that will help me navigate and interact with my data. And as a user of the solution, I'm going to ask it to create a financial package for me. So financial statement package. And when I asked it to create that story, it responds with a variety of options in which I can create it. So I'm going to ask to create a story, and then it provides me a template in which I can create that story, one of which is Joule wants to understand who is the audience for this story, because various audiences may have different needs in terms of the granularity of data in which they want to interact with. So I choose the chief controller. And the next question is, what is the goal of the story? And the goal is to create this financial report. And I wanted to include, and as you can see, there's a pull down in terms of the various options of what type of reports I want to include. So I'm going to check the ones that I am interested in: profit and loss, balance sheet and cash flow. And then there are a variety of ways in which I can present this particular report book. I can use a standard deliver template, or perhaps I've created a complete company template that has a particular look and feel that's consistent with branding of my organization. So I'm going to choose that template in order to generate this financial statement report. And as soon as I click that button to create the story, this financial report has been created. So it provides an overview and links to the various reports that I requested: the P&L, balance sheet, and cash flow. In this case, I'm going to review the profit and loss statement, and within the desktop itself, I can see the exact report in front of me, and I can interact with it. I'm looking at a P&L. It's comparing my actuals to my budget, and then I have a column to the right that's conveying the variance between my actual and plan, and also providing traffic lighting to indicate where we're better or worse in terms of performance. Now, there are comments that you can see on some of the budgetary values. And when I click on a particular comment, I can review what the commenter has shared. Operating income reduced by 2.9%. It's John Smith, and he wrote that comment earlier today. notice there are a multitude of comments that are available within this particular statement. I can go ahead and click onto each of those comments to see the information in detail, or I can ask Jewel to help me summarize these comments. So here I'll go to Jewel. I'm asking Jewel to summarize the comments for me, and then Jewel will go through the comments and review and provide me a nice summary of what the comments have portrayed. In this particular case, the comments were based on higher costs, based on increased rates, increased costs, and high inflation expectations. So I want to dig down a little deeper on that. And so once I've received those comments, I'm able to come up with a what if scenario to ask what would the impact be if costs are reduced by 2%. And I very quickly am able to generate via Joule a new revised budget that shows that 2% decrease, as well as the variance to plan based on the appearance of this new budgeted version. After that, and I get a fuller understanding of what the impact of the cost reduction, what I might want to do is run some more detailed driver-based simulations, and I can invoke our Monte Carlo embedded capability by opening up Compass in order to do that driver-based simulation here. So before I run my simulation, I need to get an understanding of what is realistic in terms of some of these drivers, specifically inflation. So I'm going to ask Jewel to show me the inflation rates from the World Bank data set that we have, and they provide reasonable inflation rates that are available today. And what I'm going to do from a simulation perspective, from a driver perspective, is input the reasonable inflation rates, or the inflation rates that I think will impact our organization. It's going to be between 4 and 6%. And I'm able to see that simulation immediately and run and rerun those simulations at any point in time. My next example is around how you can interact and use natural language in order to update your plan in a wholesale fashion. So let's take a look. Here again, I have my Joule navigation Copilot, and I want to create a new plan version. Now, this is a private version that only I can see because I would like to test out some theories and make inputs to my plan before I publish it up to my corporate plan. So this is wholly private, only I can see it unless I choose to share with others. So in this case, I've asked Joule to create this private plan for me. It automatically created that private plan. And then I'm able to, instead of manually updating the plan, I'm able to interact with it via natural language. I want to clear the education and pension line items from the sales department on this plan. So once Joule starts thinking, it starts executing on my request. Next, after clearing the education and sales lines items, I also want to clear the health insurance and commission as well. Note, I could have manually made these deletions as well, but Joule can also automate these utilizing the natural language. Now, I'm asking it to fill these values with the same cost center information from the technical department or technical cost center, but asking it to decrease it by 25% from what the technical department submitted. So it's providing me that decrease of 25%. And then I'm asking it, well, what if we decrease it instead of 25% into 40%? Again, Joule responds and then executes on my request, and the values decrease to 40%. Now, there are a number of iterations that I performed on this plan, and what I'm asking next for it to do is show me all of the versions or the version history of all of the actions I've taken on this plan. So now Joule executes, fetches the information, and there's a listing of all the various steps and activities that I performed in order to get these new values. I can do an undo of one step back and ask Joule to execute it for me. Now, this is another example of utilizing the natural language in order to have Joule execute. Once I'm satisfied with the changes that I've made to my private plan, I'm going to publish it into a corporate plan, a plan that's visible for all end users to interact with. And now it's published, my private plan has been published into and elevated into this corporate plan, the new plan, as well as making updates to the plans itself. What Joule can do and SAP can do is have data assistant agents. Now, these agents, what can help not the FP&A planner herself, but the actual modeler, the underlying model that supports a planning or analytic process. So in this case, I'm going to ask it to create a new OpEx planning model for controlling area or cost center area A, and I want the granularity to be monthly. So instead of a multitude of steps that you would take in order to create the dimensionality, the hierarchical structure, the data itself, what I'm asking the system to do is auto-generate it for me by, again, utilizing Joule. Let's take a look. So in this case, bringing up Joule again, I'm asking it to create an OpEx planning model for controlling area A, and I want it in monthly granularity. So Joule is going out there and trying to fetch some information. And one of the first things Joule comes up with is that there's an actuals cost center OpEx model out there that might be suitable for this particular planning endeavor. And it provides me that actuals model and gives me an option as to whether I would like to move forward with it. So in this particular case, I say move forward with this proposed presented model. And then it's going to make a replica of this actuals model and make it a planning model. So once created, I'm able to open up the model itself and review, because the human should always review the output of any AI generation, right? So here I can see what kind of dimensions are involved in this particular model, what the hierarchies look like, any properties associated with it. And if I'm happy with the result, I can just move forward and accept the changes here. Once I go and make that review, I want to create the data, underlying data for this particular model. So I'm asking it to create a data action for this model that uses last year's data and populates it as a basis for this new year's data. A data action simply is a calculation function within SAP Analytics Cloud that allows you to change or generate wholesale data changes within the model itself. So the data action will perform that particular function for you. In this case, instead of creating and scripting out the data action itself, I'm asking Joule to create that data action. So it's validating the data action, and once validated, I can go into the area where I store my data actions, and I see that there is an AI generated and informs me that it was AI generated data action available. And here the data action will show the various steps it will take to create the actual data from, again, last year into this year and inputting it into the new data model that was created, the new data planning model that was created just a moment ago. That's an example of the modeling agent helping via Joule, helping the end user create a model from an automated fashion instead of a manual fashion. Okay, next, let's take a look at some exciting innovations around analytic assistant agents. Now, this is more on the reporting and analytics side. And in this particular example, a planner, a finance user can help use this, it can utilize this function to be able to transform raw data into business context, data reports, report books, and be able to deliver it and publish it in a user-friendly format. In this particular example, the prompt will be to create a two-page travel KPI overview, with one page being an overview and the other page being a cost breakdown on the second page. So you will see through this process that this will vastly reduce the time and effort and the cost of creating not only the report itself, but creating the insights to the reports, being able to use and reuse assets that were already created in the past. And all of this capability is without technical expertise that finance users, business users can be able to create these assets on their own. So let's take a look at what it looks like for the insight generation agent to work via the context of Joule. So in this case, I am going to utilize the AI story generation function within my stories. Remember that I mentioned a story simply is a single document that conveys a particular point of view from an organizational perspective. So it may be around travel and expense, it may be around your P&L, it may be around your cash flow. You decide as the author of what your story needs to convey. So in this case, again, utilizing the story generation function, the AI function, here I'm going to set what the role of my particular role as the author. I'm the travel manager. What's the goal of this report? And then I'm going to the area of this composite area. So a composite simply is a reusable, self-contained building block that groups together multiple widgets. Think of widgets as charts, graphs, tables, data sources, scripting logic into a single modular component, and it functions as a single widget that can be easily imported and applied across different optimized stories. So why are composites used? Instead of manually recreating the same layout, styling, and logic in multiple reports, developers can build a composite once and reuse it across multiple dashboards. And this is the example. This approval rate composite has already been built. I'm just employing it as part of my current story. And we will see what the story generation does with this particular composite. So I've employed that composite approval rates, and the next screen it's conveying to me is it wants me to review the outline. Based on the particular selections made on the previous page, this outline is conveying what the actual story will look like. It will be my travel management dashboards. There will be 2 pages, the travel KPI overview and the travel cost breakdown overview. And these per each page are the breakdown of the various widgets that will be brought onto the page. And you have the ability to edit, augment, as well as delete any of these elements. I'm going to choose a particular template that conveys that look and feel, that branding that you may want to prescribe. And now it's generating the story. So it's going step by step. Loading the AI agent for the story generation. It's loading the underlying models. It's adding those widgets, those composites that we've asked to bring onto the page. Next, it's going to auto lay out the story page. It's going to bring those widgets into page 2. And lastly, the auto layout for the cost breakdown. And AI has chosen and created the best layout based on the fit. So it'll do a best guess in terms of the layout based on the composites chosen. And now the story is saved. So very quickly, based on the story generation, we have also selected the option to bring in an appendix page. So there's 3 pages. So starting with various widgets around travel KPIs, the travel satisfaction, you see the traffic lighting where we're underperforming, better performing. You can open up any of the details of any of those widgets as well. Now we're on to the travel cost analysis. There's KPIs around budget costs and so forth, as well as the appendix that we requested. And lastly, it will also provide an overview of what the dashboard is meant to accomplish and detail. So it gives you that information there and also a link directly to where it's housed within the application itself. So today you've seen a multitude of examples of how SAP embeds AI directly within the FP&A solution, our SAP Analytics Cloud. You saw how we use a modeling agent to be able to auto-generate reporting and planning models. You saw how we use planning agents to help the end user, whether it be manually or via natural language, control what is updated and what kind of simulations you can run from a planning perspective. And the last example you saw was an analytic agent helping you create very quickly and easily a story that conveys a multitude of KPIs, cost breakdown, helps you very quickly lead to analysis and performance evaluation. So I hope you saw some great examples of how at SAP, based on our purpose to help the world run better and improve people's lives via these innovations, I hope you saw some value in some of the exciting things we're doing from a AI perspective. AI, but always with a human touch. I always say humans are very much needed in this process to review and to prompt the AI capabilities in order for us to achieve better outcomes, better decisions, more comprehensive information in order to make those decisions. So thank you so much for spending time with me today to see SAP's vision for AI for FP&A. My name is Hee-Jae Kwon. Please have a great day. Thank you.